Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Every month I make some of my own scrapbooking supplies for my teamwork over at the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. And this month we are using this kit as our inspiration, and I will be making 4 projects based on this kit. And this will be a little bit of a compilation video because I have shared some of these techniques in the past, and I'll show you how I put them to use to make these inspired products this time around. So let's dive in. We are going to start off with making this piece of scalloped paper, which I have not done in the past. So this is all fresh video. I am going to use a circle punch and some scraps of cardstock to do this. So this one is really easy and straightforward. It does take a little bit of time because of the whole process. And I'm going to create some straight lines using my ruler here. I am marking 1-inch marks here, and I will just create some straight lines so that I have a nice straight edge to glue all my pieces down to. Now I started off just punching circles straight away, which I have done in the past for other projects, and I tend to use my straight edge to cut them into half circles for this kind of work. It wasn't until after I had already started this process that I realized that I could just use the edge of the paper to punch out half circles already and be able to skip the step of cutting them on the paper trimmer. So simply putting a line of glue across my pencil line and then randomly choosing colors and sizes. I did purposely make these different sizes to create this little bit of a wonky effect. And a bonus here is you can fluff up those circles to create more added texture and dimension. So that is project number 1. Let's move on to this word art paper, which is project number 2. And I have done something similar in the past with watercoloring. So here is my older footage where I'm doing the same thing, where I'm marking lines on my paper so that I have an easy way to draw out my letters. And I'm just going to make jumbo block letters from the top line to the bottom line. And even if you don't like your handwriting, doing it this way is pretty easy to get tidy letters. And then I'm going to outline these letters with my pencil so that I can get block letters out of this. And I can erase it and correct it if I don't like how it's looking. And then once I have finalized it, I can go over the pencil lines with ink. And that's what I've done here. So I will just show you how up at the top, I've got my pencil lines going on. And in this case, I just wrote out the letter and I'm freestyling my blockiness to outlining these. And I'm good with that. But if you need to take the time to pencil out everything, go ahead and go for that. And even if you don't like your handwriting, you can get some great results. All right, the inspiration did have little dividers in between each word that were hearts or stars. You can do a hand-drawn star and then just outline that star with shapes. But here I am going to go ahead and stamp my stars because I found a nice stamp in a good size. And I pulled out my Concord and 9th mini cube inks so that I can get these pretty stars going on. Now my color palette for this time around mostly is purples and greens with a little bit of yellow. So I've added in just a tad of blue and peach. Oh, peach is another main color in my kit as well. So I am following the colors from my kit. This set also had a little outline to that star. So after lining it up, I did get my stars outlined with some black ink, and looks like I missed a star. So I'll have to go back and do that. All right, the third project here is to create our own puffy words. And this is a tutorial I did quite a while ago. And the way I do this the best is to use some kind of clear packaging or parchment paper, something that you can peel these letters off of when they're dry. And it totally works on clear scrap packaging. Now, I am tracing over a printed word, but you can totally handwrite your words like I have shown here. And that's exactly what I did for this updated project. And then you can trace over them with these dimensional drops. These are Nuvo brand, but lots of brands out there will work for this as well. And I did my words, and then I did some images also. And here they are. I did let them dry for 2 days. I find that if they dry longer, they're less likely to stick to each other when I've got them in storage. And then to apply these to my project, I will just use a little bit of liquid glue to get them down. Now, you do have to use a nice thick coat because if your coating is too thin, they will pop apart on you, which I did have happen, but when you glue them to your project, you can just glue those parts back together. So I'm going to peel everything off and put it in my storage. And you can see the shadow of my kitty joining me here. Before I put them in storage, of course, I wanted to give you a little bit of a closer look of how these show up on a piece of white cardstock. All right, so that is my Puffy embellishments. All right, now I'm going to take inspiration from a die cut paper embellishment and turn it into a physical 3D embellishment. And again, this is older footage here of a tutorial on how to make these teeny tiny pom-poms. So I use a fork for this, and I start off by placing a string along the tines of the fork. So that will be the tie to this pom-pom. And then as I wrap my string around that, I'm sure to keep that tie so that I have the loose ends so that I can tie them together to finish the pom-pom. I do leave my little tails a little bit longer off on the end, but here is where I pull my tie up towards the top, and then I can tie my knots. Now I will use another piece of string to go ahead and thread through that first tine to wrap around to create the little top of these tassels. If you notice, tassels have a little topper to them. So I will tie one knot in the front, and then I will thread that string to the back and then tie a double knot to this in the back, and that will hold it nice and securely and give it that little wrapped look that the tassels have to create the top of the tassel. Once you slide it off the fork, you just slip your pair of scissors in there, give them a trim, and if you had, extra stray bits from your starts and stops, you can trim those off as well. And then I finish off the topper of my tassel carefully. So that is the top of my little tassel. I will trim off any excess, and then that is what they look like when you're done. I am going to use floss, embroidery floss, instead of like a baker's twine string for doing these. I've started, I have 3 different little styles of tying them off there, and so I've started that process here, but I will create 2 of each of these in the end, and then string them up onto another string to create the little banner. So here they are, all finished and ready to go, and I just love these teeny tiny tassels. I am using a needle that is intended for finishing up crochet work, but that is great for threading on all of these little tassels all at the same time and creating this cute little banner. And my kitty's back again to share space with me. But there you go. I'll give you a close-up of what this banner looks like once it's nicely spaced and you can see everything. All right, that finishes off my little tassel banner for this time around. And in fact, that finishes off my shares for this video. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. I will link you up to all the previous videos if you want to see more details of these techniques. I hope you got some good ideas out of this. And if you did, drop me a comment and let me know what's your favorite. Until next time, have an artful day.